everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and today I'm going to be tier ranking all of the sci-fi books I've read in the past few years. I think this will cover 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. I'm not quite sure. I tried to go through all of the books I read in the past 3-4 years and pick out all the sci-fi books. Sci-fi slash dystopian, I think it's sometimes hard for me to categorize certain books or know exactly where they would fit best, but I think these would all technically fit under sci-fi slash dystopian. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And for the tiers this time around, I decided to go with 10 out of 10 perfection. I love these books. I would like to own these books, and I would probably reread these books. Underneath that, we have great, but I wouldn't reread. So I did really enjoy these books. They were great at the time. I would recommend them, but I just don't see myself rereading them, and I would prioritize other books, either new or the ones that I did really love, over these. All vibes, not much else. I mean, I think it speaks for itself. The vibes were there. Maybe the plot wasn't. Maybe the writing wasn't. Enough of lacking for me to not want to put it into my great category. Underneath that, we have why. Simply, why was this written? Why was this published? Did not enjoy. And finally, we have jail. I hated these books. I despised them. I will not be recommending them, and I struggled to finish them. So these are in no particular order, but let's go ahead and get started. First off, we have two classics, 1984 and Brave New World. 1984, great, wouldn't reread. I mean, they're classics for a reason, right? As well as Brave New World. I'm just going to go ahead and put them both in great, but wouldn't reread. I might even put Brave New World in all vibes, not much else. I mean, they're classics for a reason. They're good. I don't love them. I'm sorry. I know that people love 1984. It was okay, but I wouldn't reread it unless I was forced to, which I might be in my degree, but we'll see. The Book of the Unnamed Midwife. This was honestly perfection. I did really enjoy this book. This is a sci-fi slash dystopian, very dark, very, very dark. Definitely read trigger warnings before going into it. It is technically a trilogy, I believe, but you can read any of them as standalone novels, and I don't think I'll be continuing the series, but I did really enjoy the first book, and I think it's a great example of a really well-written dystopian novel. So let's leave it at that. Next, we have these three little books, which are all part of a series. I think they were like Audible originals, and that's where I ended up reading them. We have Emergency Skin, Summer Frost, and Arc. I am trying to remember these, and I don't remember them enough to know where to put them. I do think both Emergency Skin, they were all very good. I did end up really enjoying them. I thought they were the perfect length. They're very short. They're concise, they're straight to the point. They're great little sci-fi short stories. If you're ever in the need for just a little taste of sci-fi, but you don't want to commit to a full-length novel, I would recommend this little collection of short stories on Audible. They're all by incredible authors. We have Veronica Roth, which I really liked, and the next book on the list is Arc Conspirator by her, which I also really enjoyed. Another little sci-fi dystopian. I'm pretty sure Arc Conspirator is a retelling of Antigone, which I have not read that play, but I did really enjoy Veronica Roth's adaptation of it. Next, we have A Psalm for the Wild Belt and A Prayer for the Crown Shy, which I absolutely loved both of them. This was my first introduction to cozy sci-fi, and I ended up falling in love with this genre. So if you're ever in the look for cozy sci-fi, heartwarming, low stakes, great conversations, it's one of those books where you just want to curl up with a cup of tea and enjoy the beautiful world and just get encapsulated in this very cozy short story. I would recommend A Psalm for the Wild Belt and its sequel, The Prayer for the Crown Shy. So once I had read those, I decided to try and search for more cozy cozy sci-fi. And I ended up reading The Cybernetic Tea Shop, which is going to go in great, but wouldn't reread. I did enjoy it. It was okay. It's a short little sci-fi book. We follow this girl, and there's a little bit of a romance between her and a robot. robots are sentient. I don't know. It was cute. Sapphic, cozy, robot romance. A great conversation around like asexuality. I thought it was done well. John Scalzi, Old Man's War. Ugh, Jail, hated that book. I think I'm on the minority here when it comes to disliking this book. I feel like people usually love it. And I did end up giving him another try with Starter Villain, which I ended up putting in fantasy. I think Starter Villain, even though it is kind of sci-fi, because they're talking cats. Oh, maybe it should be in here. Okay, there we go. Starter Villain by the same author, because I ended up giving him another chance. Um, Ray from Raves Reads here on YouTube convinced me to. And I would put it in great, but wouldn't reread because there's talking cats in it, and that is what makes it great. um, but Old Man's War was just so disappointing. I did not like it. And then we have Dispatcher, which is a short story by John Scalzi, which I'd forgotten I'd read. And this was going to go in why. I guess I just didn't get the point of it. I didn't really enjoy it. And I believe I read that before reading Old Man's War because it was okay enough. Dispatcher was, I didn't love it, but I was willing to read more by the author. Got incredibly disappointed by Old Man's War, and then he redeemed himself with Starter Villain. So would I give him another chance? Perhaps. Just simply because of Starter Villain. Next we have Jodi Picoult with Joy. It's a short story that I actually really, really enjoyed, and I would put this, and once again, great, but wouldn't reread. This is a sci-fi dystopian discussion on what would happen if, out of nowhere, men were the ones that got pregnant, and how that would change the whole discourse on abortion and the choice to decide what you do with your own body. And I thought it was really well done. I really enjoyed the discussion on the topic and how the author approached it. Very short, very straight to the point. I really liked it. All right, next we have Station 11, Sea of Tranquility, and The Glass Hotel, all by Emily St. John. These are either, I believe, you love them or you really don't like them. They're sci-fi slash magical realism and very beautiful prose. Very much all vibes, not much else, especially with Station 11 and The Glass Hotel. I did really enjoy both, but I just don't think I would put them in great even, and I don't remember enough about them, but I did think they were pretty decent, pretty good sci-fi books, and the writing is really what stands out. Sea of Tranquility, I ended up actually really enjoying more than the other two. I believe The Glass Hotel is kind of a sequel to Sea of Tranquility, or characters from Sea of Tranquility show up in The Glass Hotel, but maybe they both work as standalone novels. I think that's it. Yeah, they both work as standalone novels, but there's characters from each book in each book, if that makes sense. But Sea of Tranquility definitely takes the number one spot for me out of her books that I've read. It was just so beautifully written, and I really enjoyed how she ended up wrapping up the story and the way that the different timelines all connected. I thought it was a really cool concept. So I would recommend Emily St. John. I think she's a really good writer, and I do understand the hype around them. Next, we have another classic, The Handmaid's Tale, and this is perfection, honestly. It's just such a good sci-fi dystopian novel. There's not much else to say about it. Margaret Atwood killed it with this book. It was so well done. When I first read it, I was kind of upset with the ending because it doesn't give us anything. There's zero closure. It's just not a satisfying ending, but the more I think about it, the more perfect it becomes. I think it was kind of a statement to end it the way she did. And I know that the TV show has continued the story, and I do really enjoy how they've done it. I have not watched the most recent season, I believe, or the most two. I need to catch up with the TV show, but the book was perfection. Next, we have Project Hail Mary, once again, perfection. I love this book. This is one of the first sci-fi books that made me cry like so much and also laugh. It was really fun, silly humor. It's a sci-fi book that I think is very well targeted towards beginners when it comes to sci-fi because it's not hard to understand, even though it's very much high sci-fi and like space and weird science and math and aliens and, you know, very much sci-fi. I think it's a very good book to start off with because of the way it's written, and the main character is in the same boat as the reader. They know nothing. They're learning everything, and so you learn along with the main character. And I thought it was done in a really good way, and there's a really cute friendship in here. And yeah, I ended up getting really emotionally attached to some of the characters and bawling my eyes out. So I would definitely recommend Project Hail Mary. Next, we have This Is How You Boost Your Time War. Perfection. Oh, how do you even, like, I don't even know what to say about this book. It's beautifully written. The prose is stunning. It's dual point of view, dual author, and they did such a good job. The tragic sapphic love story. It's There's time travel, there's mystery, there's enemies to lovers. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And it's one of those books that I would say you need to read at least twice, because the first time around, nothing makes sense until almost the very end. And then the second time around, you just can just sit back and appreciate how beautifully written it is and how the romance is just chef's kiss, stunning, and so tragic and so sad. It's so good. Next, we have Anybot. Great, but wouldn't reread. This is a sci-fi, not too far away from our reality. It felt like a Black Mirror episode in a book, and it was really well done. It was really well written in the sense that I could not put it down. I listened to this as an audiobook, and I listened to it all in one day. Probably not the best idea because I ended up having really stressful dreams, but I really enjoyed it. I don't even know I don't know if I can say I enjoyed it because it's very dark. It's very heavy. Definitely read up on the trigger warnings before going into this book. There's a couple things in there that bothered me. I talk about it more in a video and I'll link it down below. But I did really overall enjoyed, was entertained, was intrigued by this book. Okay, next we have Undercover. This is going to go in all vibes, not much else, simply because it was too short. I think this had potential to be a fully fledged novel. It's by the same author as Gideon the Ninth. You can tell from the way that it's written, and I just think it would have been so good if it had just been a bit longer because the vibes were there. Creepy, dystopian, ghoul slash zombies, bit of a mystery, but it was just too short and it left me wanting more. And last but not least, we have All Systems Red, which is going in perfection. I'm only including the first one. It's a 7-book series, but I would honestly probably put them all in perfection. Maybe one or two in great but wouldn't reread, but I love them. I love them. These are cozy sci-fi. We follow a sarcastic robot, and he has gone rogue. He has hacked his system and decided that he no longer wants to be a murder bot because all he wants to do is watch TV shows and avoid people. And I love that for him. So yeah, that's the end of the video. As you can tell, this was a lot shorter than my fantasy one. I need to read more sci-fi. So if you have any sci-fi recommendations, please let me know down below. I'm apparently lacking a lot in sci-fi. I cannot believe that in the last 4 years, I've only read about 23 sci-fi books in the last couple of years, which is not okay. I need to read more sci-fi. So please go ahead and recommend me your favorite sci-fi books, which ones I should read, and let me know if you've read any of these and if you disagree. Would you tier rank them differently? If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I'll see you all in my next video.